Hey everyone, welcome to Small Business Strong. I'm your host, John Lane, and today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to do a Q&A session. This episode is going to be all about listener and client questions. I've been collecting client questions for a while, and I just asked our listeners to send in questions, and I've combined the two, and we're going to do a great episode today. Question number one is, what are some cheap upgrades that add instant value to your home? This is a great question to kick us off because you really don't have to spend much money here. On all of these things we're going to talk about, you can either DIY it or you can hire somebody. But on this one especially, it is DIY friendly. We had a realtor on our first house that we were selling tell us floors and walls sell a house. And so some cheap upgrades that you can do if you do it yourself is painting your front door and painting your interior walls. That adds instant value. What you're going to want to do is pick a neutral, maybe a slight warmer color. You want something timeless. You should be able to buy paint for your entire house, depending on how many square feet it is, for under $1,000. Now, if you're doing it yourself, it might take you a week or two, but it is totally worth it. Something else you can do on a budget is update the light fixtures and the cabinet hardware. These small changes make a huge difference. And again, pick something timeless here. Next, let's talk about landscaping and curb appeal. Planting flowers, seasonal flowers, mulching, pressure washing, at least just getting all the cobwebs off the outside of your house. These are small things that you can do yourself. They're going to make a huge difference. Next, we're going to talk about smart thermostats. We recently got one of these, and even though our system is not brand new, it feels brand new because of the smart thermostat. Usually, you'll be able to get these smart thermostats for under $200 installed. And finally, the last thing on question one we're going to talk about is flooring. Now, like I mentioned a second ago, my realtor told me floors and walls are everything when you're selling a house. If you do have an LVP or a tile you don't want to mess with, replacing LVP with something timeless and inexpensive is a great option. The key here is to focus on things that look expensive but aren't expensive. Buyers notice these little things that you do. Okay, so let's get to question number two. This is one of my favorite ones. So how can I tell, other than reviews, if a contractor is trustworthy? I go into this in some of my other episodes and in my handiwork startup system, but you want someone who is referred to you. You want someone who's done work for a friend, a neighbor, family member, whatever it is. You want that reference. There are a couple other things you can do, though. You can check the Better Business Bureau and see if they have any complaints filed against them. You can check their licensing if they're a licensed contractor and see if everything's up to date. Another thing you can do is just make sure that when they do the walkthrough with you, that they know what they're talking about. Question them, ask them detailed questions about the process. Typically, red flags are they don't know anything about the process. They don't give you anything written. All right, so let's move on to question number three, which is, do I need a permit for my renovation? So if you're doing any structural modifications, you need a permit. If you are getting a new panel, you need a permit. If you are relocating plumbing, you need a permit. If you are replacing your HVAC system, you need a permit. If you are adding or modifying plumbing in a bathroom, always ask your contractor about pulling permits before the job begins. They should be doing this. You will run into an issue when you sell your house if you choose not to pull permits. All right, so question number four is, what is the biggest mistake homeowners make when they hire a contractor? I see this every day in my field and time again, which I always recommend getting 3 bids. But the third bid comes in, it's the lowest, and they don't ask questions, and they hire the lowest guy. And I totally get it. We all want to save money, but the lowest bid usually means one of 3 things. Number 1 is they're planning to cut costs on materials or labor somewhere. Number 2, and I've seen this one a lot, is they'll add hidden costs once the job starts. And number 3, which is the scariest, is they do not have the knowledge and experience to know how much the job actually costs. So my advice in this scenario is to always get 3 bids, like I always talk about, and compare the scope of work of all 3 of them, not the price. If one bid is significantly lower than the others and the scope is all the same, talk to that contractor, ask him why. That should clear up any questions you have. Okay, so question number 5, I get this one a lot. What do I prioritize first in my home when I start repairing things? So the answer might be obvious for this one, but first it's roof leaks, water intrusion, any foundation issues, things like that are structural. The second thing are any safety concerns you have, like mold or electrical issues or things like that. Third would be things like HVAC or plumbing. And then finally, it's going to be things like paint, trim, fixtures, things that you notice when you walk in the house. A lot of homeowners want to jump to the fun stuff like painting or knocking out walls in the kitchen or refreshing the bathroom, but none of that matters if your roof is leaking or if your foundation is off. All right, so here we are at question number 6, and this one's a fun one. It's what does not add value to your home. So if you're in a neighborhood, say the median cost for a house is $250,000 and you're doing a kitchen remodel and you spend $100K on it, that is not justified and you will not get that back out of your house when you sell it. Second would be converting your garage into an additional bedroom. I see this a lot and the market does not support that. Most people want a garage. Next is bold and highly personalized renovations just do not help you when you're trying to sell a house. Again, I've said this several times, but keep everything timeless. Next is if you're in a starter home and you're putting a steam shower in or you're considering doing heated floors, these things just are not good for that price point. Overall, the best improvements are going to be the ones that are timeless and that really get you the broadest range of buyers. Okay, so question 7 is the last question on my list. It is, hey, I had a lot of cracks repaired on my drywall last year and I'm starting to get cracks in the same spot. Is this normal? So here's what I say about drywall cracks. Typically, hairline cracks are okay. However, if it's in the exact same spot that we just repaired a year earlier, there might be something else at play. I would highly, highly recommend having your foundation company come out and do a check. Pretty much every house I'm in has drywall cracks, but it depends on what they look like, how fast they're growing, things like that. If you're having 1/4 inch gaps, something's really wrong with your foundation. If you have hairline cracks everywhere, that's semi-normal. Well, that's everything, y'all. That's a wrap on our Q&A episode. If you did not get a chance to get your questions in, you can always email me at smallbusinessstrongpodcast@gmail.com. I hope this episode was able to give you some clarity. Thank you so much for watching Small Business Strong, and until next time.